Morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Happy Hanukkah. We will begin with chapter 41, verse 38. Chapter 41, verse 38. Yosef has explained Paro's dreams to him. Yosef has explained the dreams to Paro's satisfaction. And then, as we mentioned yesterday, Yosef goes further. And Yosef says, based on these dreams, you really need to appoint someone who's going to be your, a secretary for agriculture, plus a lot of things to really manage this all. And in verse 38, Vayomer Paro al Avodav, Paro said to his servants, Hanimtza chazeh is, can one find like this, Ish asher ruach elokim bo, such a unique person who has the spirit of God within him. And then the next verse, Paro says, based on everything you've said, there's nobody like you. You said we need to find someone who's navon and chacham, someone who's wise and understanding. You're the one. But this pasuk, verse 38, is such a strange pasuk. Paro turned to his advisors and said, is there anyone like this? It's a very nice pasuk as part of the story. But again, if you think of all the verses in Torah that are omitted, that things must have been said back and forth, but it's not significant enough to rank, who cares what Paro said to his servants? We see in the next pasuk, Paro's clear excitement to involve Yosef. That's all we need. So really interesting Ramban on this pasuk. Ramban on pasuk Lamed Ches. V'taman in tzachaseh ba'avur shahaya ivri. Because Yosef was a Jew, v'hem snue nefesh hamitzriyim. The Egyptians hated the Jews. Lo yochlu magam v'lo yischabru moyam. They wouldn't eat food touched by Jews. They wouldn't associate with the Jews. The Jews are impure in the eyes of the Egyptians. If you remember, we had last week the wife of Potiphar. We mentioned, I can't remember if it was a Ramban or another commentary, but we mentioned that when she's describing what allegedly occurred, which of course was false, she refers to Yosef as a Jew. That had no relevance to the story. But the point is that it shows us their tremendous anti-Semitism. Cain, Lo Ratza Limnoso Mishnah below Rishusam, fascinating portal into the political scene of Egypt. Paro understood that he could not appoint Yosef as viceroy of Egypt without consensus among his cabinet. If he didn't have consensus to appoint a Jew to this position, it would have been a disaster. And so therefore he turns to his advisors. He says, there's nobody like this fellow. I know he's a Jew, but even though he's a Jew, he might be good. Only after they conceded Paro's point, then Paro says to Yosef, gosh, after God has revealed all this to you, Paro thought his explanation was good. Paro's servants thought his explanation was good. Then as far as they're concerned, it's interesting. What's the best way to tell if a dream interpretation is correct? I don't know. Wait to see if the interpretation occurs. In other words, I don't know. Let's see. But the Torah, the Ramban explains that Paro and his advisors are so set that this explanation seems so good, they don't even need to wait to see the results. Okay, so this is a very, very interesting. A little bit further, the Ramban says, "V'tachin she'irmos es kozos gam l'mashesiper lo sara mashkim." He says maybe the pshat that after God has told you all of this, maybe it's actually a reference to what happened with the butler in prison. In other words, this is not the first experience you've had with interpreting a dream. We know you've already successfully interpreted a dream from your prison experience. Now we think your interpretation makes sense here. We want you to be the viceroy of Egypt. But a fascinating comment on the politics of the time, and probably a comment on the Jewish condition in general. A very interesting Ramban. Okay, let's jump far ahead. Excuse me, chapter 42, verse 1. Chapter 42, verse 1. In the ensuing psukim, it talks about the whole plan that Yosef made, and Yosef took from this one, and Yosef saved that, and Yosef would distribute food to the people of Egypt. And over time, Yosef became the distributor not only for the Egyptians, but Yosef became the distributor from people coming from other countries who also had been hit by this famine. And now, if you actually look at the last verse of chapter 41, verse 57, from all over the land, they came to Egypt, Lishboro Yosef, to get food from Yosef. Ki chazak hara'av b'chol ha'aretz, because the famine was strong throughout the land. And again, the land here clearly means beyond Egypt, it means the region in general. Now, chapter 42, verse 1, Vayar Yaakov ki yashav b'Mitzrayim. Yaakov saw that there was food in Egypt. Vayomer Yaakov lefanav. Yaakov says to his sons, who of course are living in Israel with Yaakov at the time, Lama tisra'u. Very interesting phrase. Lama tisra'u literally should be translated, I guess, as why are you appearing? Why should you appear in a certain way? Very vague. What is he talking about? And he clearly is going to instruct them to go down to Egypt. But what does this phrase mean? Why are you appearing? Look at the Ramban in Pasuk Aleph. Lama tisra'u al taru atzmachem sveim lifnei b'nei Esav v'Yishmael. So first he cites Rashi at the beginning, and Rashi cites a Gemara. Don't present yourselves as being satiated in the presence of the descendants of Esav and Yishmael, meaning, actually, the Jews still had food. Okay, so the first shot that Rashi's saying is that Yaakov says to his sons, of course we're okay. Thank God we're okay. But everyone else is grappling all over to try to find food. It's not good to arouse the jealousy of others. So let's walk the walk of people who need food also. Everyone else needs to go to Yosef's pantry in Egypt. Why don't you go also? Let's do what everyone else is doing. We don't need to stand out. That's the first shot in Rashi. Another pshat is it's a language of looking particularly thin. Gosh, you look thin. For all you people who thought that only Jewish mothers could say such a thing, Yaakov says it to his sons. You look so thin. We've got to get food. So two very different ideas in Rashi. The Ramban says, I really don't think the second shot is right. He says, I don't even understand what the Gemara is talking about. The first shot, which Rashi cited, was but why should you show yourselves to be satiated in the presence of the descendants of Yishmael and Esav? The Ramban says, what are you talking about? They're not there. The descendants of Yishmael and Esav don't live in that region, don't live in that land, in the land of Israel. He says, I get the basic pshat. The basic pshat is, why are you presenting yourselves as being better off than everybody else? But the Ramban says, I have no idea why they're talking about the children of Esav and Yishmael. They don't live there. Perhaps, as the Ramban, the descendants of Yishmael and Esav were coming from other places, and they needed to get food from Yosef in Egypt like everybody else. So in their commute to get to Egypt, they were passing through the land of Israel. So the Ramban says maybe the pshat with the Gemara is it's not that the descendants of Yishmael and Esav lived there, but they were traveling, and as they would travel to go to Egypt to get food, they would pass by Israel, and they presumably would see that Yaakov and his sons are just relaxing at home because they're all set. Says the Ramban, it could be that the reason why we're specifying Esav and Yishmael is more than the Jews don't want to stand out, but maybe they'll come and they'll start wanting to connect with us. Maybe they'll come, maybe they'll ask us for food, maybe they'll want to start eating with us. We're if you look far enough back at the family tree, we're related, we're mishpacha, help us out. And Yaakov doesn't want to have anything to do with these people. And it could be, according to this pshat, that what Yaakov is saying, will live and not die. And as we need to go down to Egypt, let's live and not die, is that even though currently the Jews have food, the Jews' food is not going to last forever either. So it's interesting. So basically, the pshat in Rashi, the Ramban thinks is viable. According to the Ramban, seems to be a little bit of a combination of two things. At least the way the Ramban is applying Rashi. Psukim, that he was concerned that actually, according to the Ramban, it's not that, well, why should the neighbors see we have food? It's why should our distant relatives see we have food? And they're going to start wanting all this from us. And additionally, yes, we have food, but we have to be very careful about how we're using our food because we don't have an unlimited supply ourselves. But going further, the Ramban says, what I think the pshat is, Lama Tisra'u b'makom hazeh. I think the pshat, the meaning of the pasuk is, why are you appearing in this place? Meaning Israel. Ki haya lachem lisa miyad kasher shematem sheishav b'Mitzrayim. I have no idea, my sons, why you're still here. I have no idea why you haven't gone down to Egypt yet. Ki kfar b'sakana hayum lo yimaru l'daber. We have practically nothing left. So different than Rashi Pshat. Ramban says, I think the Pshat is, Yaakov says, why are you still here? Why do I still see you? Get going. We need food. Get to Egypt. That's the place to go. And then Ramban says, of course, when Yaakov ultimately says to his sons in this explanation, we'll live and not die, it's not some far off thing. It's, I don't know how much longer we've got. We're on the verge of starvation ourselves. Get going. That's Rashi Pshat with the Ramban's comments and the Ramban's own Pshat. Now, let's go to the Sforno. Sforno on Pasuk Aleph. Lama Tisra'u. Lama Tabitu Zeh. I love this pshat. Why are you looking at each other? You're all staring at each other. Everybody's looking at the other guy. Ruvain, maybe my brother will go down and get the food from Egypt. Yaakov says, I have no idea what you're all doing. You're all staring at the other one. Why don't you go? You should all go. Just get going. We need food. That's the Sforno's pshat. Not that any Jewish groups at any time ever fall into this trap, but okay. The Sforno's pshat. Going on to verse 6. So Yaakov's sons go down to Egypt to get food. The Yosef hu hashalit ala aretz. Yosef was the ruler over the land, of course, not on Paro's level, but Yosef was essentially the practical executive of the land. He was the one who provided food for all of the land. Yosef, the brothers of Yosef came. They bow down to him. Obviously, at this point, they do not know that he's Yosef. They just know that he's the viceroy of Egypt. Really basic question. Yosef has time to meet every single person who comes, who wants food? Does that make any sense? So that's just a practical question. It seemed to have been a normal thing that he was meeting with these people. Why? The other thing is even the pasuk itself, just the wording. Yosef was the governor over all the land. He was the one who provided food to all the land. We skipped a lot of the psukim, but if you have going straight to the parsha, we know all of that already. So why does it say it at all in the pasuk? So first of all, why does it emphasize Yosef's position? We know his position. And second of all, to the extent that is his position, why in the world does he have time to deal with them anyway? We will discuss this next time, God willing. And just administrative announcement, we will not meet tomorrow morning. So the next time we're going to meet is going to be Thursday, God willing. Just for people from other shiurim, the evening shiur tonight is not going to meet. The evening shiur tomorrow night will meet. And the Wednesday morning Navi shiur will not meet. So no Tuesday night shiur, no Wednesday morning Parsha shiur, no Wednesday morning Navi shiur. And for all you people like my parents who come to so many things, now you're not the only ones on this, I know. The next time that we will meet is Wednesday evening. Okay.